Wonderful. We already have in a second more than 100 people. So great attendees. Okay, so I wanted to welcome member or Dr. Punzola and Dr. Wandula. And Dr. Wandi is here up in New York, and Dr. Punzola is from right now I think in Russia and Moscow. So welcome both of you, and very excited about this topic about the dynamic energy or the wind energy or qi in Chinese, the prana in Sanskrit, lung in Tibetan. And so we all know nowadays that a lot of interest, curiosity, researchers, and also people doing a lot of different forms of pranayama practices. So this is a topic I think is very, very interesting, because this also, these exercises, it's part of very ancient traditions, from many different ancient traditions, and part of these in ancient tradition, part of where people work with the wind in order to balance their health. And also people who are working like yogis who work with the prana and the wind exercises in order to ancient time when there is not so much of a facility of medicine and so on. For some people, they did manage to kind of prevent a lot of sicknesses through exercises of wind, and also prevent a lot of, how you say, when they get sick, heal a lot of things, also the exercises of the wind. And also many yogis that the wind exercises has been one of the major enhancer for their spiritual development, meditation. So this has been topic, a very wide range of topics. So I think today both Dr. Punzola and Dr. Wangdula will emphasize more from the perspective of Tibetan medical tradition. So welcome both of you. So first, I'm going to unmute Dr. Wangdula. Please, maybe you go ahead.
Lasso Rinpoche Tashi Deleg Rinpoche and Dr. Punzola. And first of all, I would like to say Happy New Year to Rinpoche, Dr. Punzola, and viewers and the Sangha members all over the world, and Happy New Year. So as Rinpoche mentioned that today we're going to talk about the dynamic energies of a wind. So in order to know a little bit more about wind, first of all, I think it's very important to know about a little bit about the 5 elements itself. So because in Tibetan medicine, there are 5 elements. So whether like the external or internal imbalances or the problems, those are caused by those 5 element imbalances. So and Tibetan medicine also mentioned that everything out there, like universe and environment and everything out there, or the external or our physical, everything is made of 5 elements. So this is what we believe. This is the foundation that Tibetan medical system or the medicine is built. So first, I think it's in order to know about the relationship between the 5 elements. So we have to know what are the 5 elements. There are a lot of people say it's 5 elements. Sometimes we also call 4 elements, Junganga, Jungwashi, but it's almost same. There's we have 5 elements as earth element, water element, fire element, and then wind or lung element, and then we have space element. So sometimes we don't count space element because space element is always there, space always present there. So that's why, and this thing. So whenever when we talk about the balance, and Tibetan medicine is all about the balance, imbalance, and the rebalance. So we are balancing all those energies or those elements. So the so I think So when it's come to the wind element, that's which we translate at wind, but we like to call lung. So lung element is element. It's little bit, like it plays the crucial role between the mind and the body. So it's a connector between mind and body. And then everybody knows that when those 5 elements out there, whether in the environment, when they are harmony, where they're in the state of harmony, and then we have the everything, like plants are growing and trees are growing and flowers like growing, and everything is like that. And then when those 5 elements become imbalance or destructive, and then we will see a lot of the natural disasters out there, like earthquake and the flood, and then cyclones, all these things. Those are the very, this is something that we can see out there because of the 5 elements imbalance. They are, disturbing each other instead of helping each other. When those 5 elements are in a state of balance, or in a harmony, and then everything works perfectly. So it was said that when there's no sun, and then we'll not be here, because we need fire element, fire energy. If there's no water in this planet, and there will be no living beings. So something like this, everything is, because of those elements, because, so this is one thing. And then exactly same thing happening in our body. So the one that's happening out there that we can we can see very easily. We can see through the televisions those natural disasters. So what happens with the ecology, and what happens with the environment when there's a lot of destructions in the environment. But inside, now today we are talking about inside, the 5 element imbalances in inside, and then it happens the same thing in inside. When we talk about 5 element with the living beings, now there are like 2 different types of living being and non-living, right? Living and non-living beings. So when we talk about living beings, most of the time we call it 3 principal energies. We don't we use the term of 3 principal energies. It's exactly the same thing like 5 elements, but we don't use as a 5 element. We use more like 3 principal energies. So 3 principal energies are Tripa. Lung is a wind or the air element. Then Tripa is fire element, which generate the heat in our body. And then Pagan is earth and water. And the space element's always there. In order to have anything exist, we need space, or we need, the place to be there. So that's why space element is sometimes we mention that in Tibetan medicine, but most of the time we use lung. First lung energy is the air energy or the wind energy, and then Tripa energy is fire energy, and then Pagan is earth and water. So those the 3 principles are when we talk in the living beings, we use those terms. So let's talk a little bit about lung, Tripa, Pagan. So the lung is the specific, the more details. Dr. Kunzo Wamala are going to talk about more details about lung, the categories of the lung, and then the functions of those lungs, and like signs and symptoms of imbalance of those. But I'm going to talk a little bit very like general things, that lung is responsible for all movement, every movement. We have blood circulations, which is movement. We have digestion or GI systems, which is also movement. And we also have like nervous systems moves up and down. And then the most important thing is we have the mental, the not only physical movement, we also have a lot of mental movement, which is thoughts and emotions. So lung deals with all those movements, especially lung is the responsible for connecting those 2 things, mind and body. When the mind and body works together, then we will have perfect physical health and the mental health. When those are not working together, when those are disconnected, then we have all kinds of problems. The worst thing is when the mind and the body separate. That means that's called death, and death. And then sometimes we don't have to die if there's a disconnect between mind and body. We will have some people get craziness. Some people doesn't know what they're acting, what they're talking, because there's no connection between mind and body, because of those the lung energy which connects those two. So Tibetan medicine emphasizes more about the lung energy, which disturb both mental, the health and the physical health. So in order to bring the healthy mind and healthy body, so we Tibetan medicine says it's very necessary to take care of the lung, which is crucial, or which is connector between those two. So this is one thing. Then let's talk about this. I think I have this one, the cause of the disease. Cause of the disease. I put some keynotes here, so I don't remember what Michela asked me to say. So Michela asked me to talk a little bit about the cause of the disease and the cause of the lung imbalances. So cause of the disease in Tibetan medicine, there was two different causes of all the sufferings or disease or whatever. Distant cause and the proximate cause. The distant cause is the cause for all the sufferings. That is the distant cause. What we call distant cause also has two different types. One is general cause, and another one is specific cause of the disease or the suffering. The distant cause is ignorance. Ignorance is the fundamental cause for all the sufferings. And so the Tibetan medicine is very much related with the Buddhist philosophy and our ancient Dhamma tradition. So Tibetan medicine is always connected with some spiritual the practice. So that's why, and then our distance cause, it is said that distance cause is the ignorance. Ignorance means the not knowing the intrinsic nature of the phenomena, or the true nature of the phenomena. Or sometimes people say also, sometimes they will say that not knowing the true nature of our mind, which is lack of understanding. So that's the general cause for all the sufferings. Because of that, I have some picture. Last time I showed this one too. So this is a little bit interesting. Sometimes people want to see something. Just talking doesn't. So this one is most of people. You guys can see this one in. Whenever you go to Tibetan monasteries, Tibetan temples, the Buddhist temples, and the entrance of the door entrance, there's this picture. This picture is originally designed by the Buddha Shakyamuni himself, and this shows the wheel of life. You can see here, right? Wheel of life. So this shows that how we are in a circling existence of life, or in the samsara, why we are suffering, because we are in this circling existence of life. So this one shows there are three different creatures. There's a pig, there's a snake, there's a bird. So these represent three mental poisons: hatred, desire, and ignorance, or the delusion. So those are the cause, and then they have two different, ways. One is white, another one is black. That's like karma. Karma means cause and effect. Whenever you do something, actions of three doors: mind, body, speech. The positive things, you accumulate the positive karma, so that you'll get the positive result. And whenever you did something, like negative things by three doors, or mind, body, speech, and you accumulate the negative the karma, and so you have negative results. So this kind of thing. And then we have 6 different realms here, and then this goes like this. If we want to get rid of the suffering, at all, then we have to attain the nirvana, which is not in the cyclic existence of life. So course of the cyclic existence of life is the ignorance. So this is very interesting. Whenever you guys have a chance to check, just look at this, and then you will see where we are. So this is about the general course, and then we have specific course. Specific course is the 3 mental poisons which I talked about. So 3 mental course also, because of the ignorance, then we have 3 mental poisons. 3 mental poisons. Those are there are some people, always ask me that you guys always talks about 3 mental poisons, but some masters and the spiritual masters, they are like thousands of different afflictive emotions, but you guys always talk about 3. Those are the consolidated into 3 groups. There's 3 groups, just 3 groups. We have like thousands of thoughts and emotions, especially the negative, especially in these days. We have a lot of challenges. We have a lot of competitions. We have a lot of these things. So everyday life, we have all kinds of thoughts. That's more to the negative side. But these are the 3 different, the categories. So that's the specific cause for the disease or the suffering because of those. And then we have approximate cause. So that's the most important thing in Tibetan medicine. This is more like practical level. The other 2 is, I think, you can say by theoretic, or I don't know, by the theory. And then the approximate cause is the most important in the clinical practical or the practical level. The approximate cause is lung itself, the 3 principal energy itself. 3 principal energies, when they are in a state of balance, then we have then it's responsible for all the mental and physical and mental and physical activities. From the day 1 when we have the fertilization, in the mother's womb, and those 3 principal energies are involved there. Those 3 principal energy will help us to develop our body, develop our mind, develop our everything. So those are responsible for keep our body healthy and development and getting stronger and bigger and functions properly when those 3 principal energies in the state of balance, which is basically that's 5 elements. So when those 3 principal energies become out of balance, imbalanced through season, time, or you can call time or season, diet, behavior, and sometimes we also have some spirit influence. We also that's also one part of big thing, the big part of the cause that, condition that's contribute to the manifest the disease in our body or arouses the disease to become in balance. So those are those 3 principal energies are the proximate cause for the disease, and then that way, then we have to know that when those 3 principal energies are in the state of balance, then we have no more disease. We are okay. We are in good shape. We are in a healthy. And when those are disturbed and then become sick, then disorder. So the Tibetan medical system also I mentioned that when it mentioned that so soje ne jang jungxing wo nye be men jang doe lun di jungwa shile tuk soje ne jang jungwa shile ki nye be men jang jungxing wo nye lune nye bo tangi chi parante. It said that our body is made out of 5 elements or the 4 elements, and the sickness which we are suffering right now, this is also imbalance of those energies. And then the medications or the treatment for those imbalanced energies, those disease, also in the form of 5 elements. So this is basic idea about Tibetan medicine. Now, so we now we have let me see what I have to Okay, we talked about the cause. We talked about and okay, the conditions. We talked about conditions, and then now let me talk a little bit more about conditions that arises the wind energy. So we talked about cause and its true principle itself. Now, what happens? We have the whenever we have the cause, we need to have a condition that will make the result. When we have cause and then we need condition. Condition, that there are three different types of conditions. We have progressive condition, we have accumulative conditions, and we have actual arousal conditions. So the accumulative conditions or the progressive conditions are I put in the one basket and then another one in. So what is mean by the progressive conditions? Progressive condition is that there are a lot of people. I have a lot of friends, and I have some patients that when I check the pulse, when I tell them, oh, you have quite amount of accumulation of wind energy in your body, this lung, this tobodu, and then they says, okay, when I have accumulation of lung in my body, what I'm gonna what kind of problem I will have? And then when I say those signs and symptoms, they say I don't have these things. But this shows that they have accumulated the lung energy, or and the progression of the lung energy in their body, but it doesn't manifest. It doesn't arouse. It doesn't show through the what they call signs and symptoms. So that's called accumulation period or accumulation conditions. For example, when accumulation condition is, you can say according to the time, according to the lifestyle, according to the diet, what we eat. And so when it's come to the seasons, the earlier part of the summer, which we call spring, right? Springtime. Because of the privilege of the light and the raw the qualities of in environment, and it's because of those conditions brings that conditions contribute to accumulate a lot of lung energy in our body. But during that time, because of the warmness of the climate, it prevents those accumulated energies to the manifest. So there's something that's blocking there. So that's why people don't understand, whether they have something going on their body, but it doesn't show as a sign and symptoms. So that's why. So that. That's all right. So maybe we should I just make a little bit conclusion for there, and then Rinpoche wants to move to Dr. Phuntsol Wangyal, so we can. All right. So this is that's called progressive condition, accumulation, the condition, and then actual arousal condition. Actual arousal conditions are, like diet, behavior, and diet behavior and seasonal that's affect directly. It's manifest the lung problem immediately. So that's actual. So we'll talk a lot more this later. All right, Rinpoche.
Thank you, Dr. Wangyal. That's wonderful. Great information. A lot of things to learn. So I will pass to Dr. Phuntsol. Dr. Phuntsol is going to talk a little bit more specifically the cause and divisions related with the 5 lung. So please go ahead.
Hello. Geshe Rinpoche Lasso. Thank you. So, Dr. Wangyal, thank you. Your overview was very nice and then very clearly explained. Okay, so when we look in this, when we look in the lung, Lung is also not only one sort of like a location and the one working, but there are also 5 sort of like categorized lung. And then those lung also there has their own specific locations, specific pathway, and they also their functions. So sometimes I explain to the people, sometimes the people to make understanding is a little difficult, you know. So I tell is if you're looking at government, the government has different departments. So the one body of the government, but there is different bodies of the like a department. So those 5 lungs are sort of like some lung is like looking for the education, some lung is looking for more like healthcare, and someone agriculture, someone like construction. So this kind of, so then people makes more as they say, oh, okay, now I get idea. So anyway, so there's 5 lung. So the first lung we call is Sokjin lung. Sokjinba means is like whole life. So this lung is the one of the lung which causing to like conceive and cause to the develop the body, and also final sort of like when we're losing the body, and then that also sort of like a last lung which drop their life. So that's where we call is the Sokjinba, means is like holds the life. So that lung is located in our crown chakra on the top of the head, and it travels down through the throat, go down to toes to the chest. And then the functions of this lung, when we eat food, like help to swallow the food, and also helps to inhaling, exhaling, and also helps to the sputums or whatever you want to spit from the mouth. And in the meantime, also gives the sneezes and also burps. And also this one, like one of the main lung which like take the responsibilities of all the sense organ, their conceptions. So an example, if we feel like sneezy or burp, we try to holding certain like overdo, or even we don't need to do, but we try to have this kind of thing. This kind of when we disturbed, and then we consider is this lung can disturb. Besides that, in general condition and more specifically. So when we're looking, there's like 13 subcategorized, like the circumstantial conducts. So an example, if you feel like sneezy, if you try to hold, don't get the sneezy, or if you don't need to do, you try. And that this kind of thing can cause to disturb specifically the Songjin lung. And the second lung we call the Kingyu lung. Kingyu means it's upward. So that the ascending lung, they translate. So this lung is located in the heart chakra, and they go up through the throat, and it goes through the nose. And this lung, so the functions of this lung is when we talking to form the words, and then also helps to restrain the bodily constituents, or the body strength, or especially is the mental capacity restraint. And also gives is good like complexions, and then radiance, and then especially gives like the determinations, self-confident, and all the like memories, to make it clear memories, or more sort of like the sharp memories. again, if you sort of like are on top of the general conditions of the lung disturb, and particularly if you sort of like talking too much, using sort of like unnecessarily or the using wrong way, using the voice, all those kind of can conflict, disturb this the Kingyu lung. And then the third lung we call is the Kyabji lung. Kyabji means is pervading, so which means is like something covers whole body. So this Kyabji lung is located in our physical heart, and it goes to the whole body. And then the main function is to help the circulations of the blood, or any kind of like the body movements. So we call is Gyangum Jizum Chawa Pera. So most of the body movements included like eyes, like sense organs open, close, so like their usage, or the like limbs contracting, stretching, lifting, lift, everything. All the body movement is connected to this lung. So this lung can be disturbed on top of the general lung condition, and specifically if you drink like not enough liquid, like a body get like dehydrated, or you have sort of like a lot of stress, worries, and then getting like a strong angry is also like all the time getting angry. So any kind of like a mental like stress, or the physical like a usage wrong, like diet behave. An example, if you drink too much like a sour liquid. So the sour liquid means is more predominated by the fire element. So this kind of also, if you drink overdosage or the more frequency, and then this also can causing dehydrated like the body fluid in the body, or the body fluid became sort of inflamed. In this kind of case also we have the problems of the Kyabji lung dysfunction. And then the next the lung we call is lung menyam. So menyam means is like a fire accompany lung. So when we look in the fire accompany lung, so which means is fire accompany means is goes with the other digestive systems. In Tibetan medicine, we have 3 digestive systems. The first one we call is the composing pegen. Second one we call is digestive tipa. And the third one we call is the fire accompany lung. So this fire accompany lung accompanying to the digestive tipa to make stronger the fire, to help the digesting. And after digest, this main function or the main job of this the menyam lung is to dividing pure and impure of the food. So we eating food, main goal is regenerating bodily constituents, regenerating and renutriting the body. So how to get the body nutrient or the supplement is that after we eat food, and then all those 3 digestive system digesting appropriately, and then regenerate, then we can get the essence of the food to the body. So this is mainly worked by this that the fire company lung. So main this fire company lung is travels into all the digestive system, and then function is, as I said, the help to digesting and then digested food to abstracting, and then to make it dividing pure impure. And then impure transform into the 7 bodily constituents, which is the muscle, fat, bone marrow, and reproductive fluid. After reproductive fluid, also we have another one pure essence we call is the ndang, which is the like the body strength. And then the last one we call the Tursi lung, which is the translate like descending lung. The descending lung is located in the pelvic area, and it goes into through all the reproductive organs, bladder, and also included inner thighs. The function of this lung is to like managing open or to close the gates, the lower gates. An example, if we're thinking we need to go to the bathroom when we sit and then let the urine sort of like free the urine, and then included also not only the urine feces, but also menstruation cycles, reproductive fluids, and then like miscarriage, childbirth, all those kind of things can be controlled. So an example, if we don't need to go to the bathroom, we try to squeezing, or if we need to go to the bathroom, we try to hold very strongly. Any kind of like lower gate function, either we try to squeezing unnecessarily or holding unnecessarily. So this one is very strongly disturbed, this the Tursi lung. So the Tursi lung is in the lower parts of the body, as I said, located in the pelvic area. But that lung is disturbed, not only problems in the lower parts of the body, but that also affects to the mental problems. Many times when we have like simple constipation, so the many times is constipation also connected to this the Tursi lung or the descending lung dysfunction. But once the constipation also shows the symptom as like a mentally dysfunction, stressed, unhappy, heartbeat runs faster, and they also depressed, short temper, so on and so forth. So this kind of is, as the Rinpoche mentioned before, is very important to understanding what is those lung. Once those lung is like a balanced time to give a lot of benefits to the body, but once this like harmonized time also they brings is a lot of sufferings. So those are the 5 lung, and then 5 lung where they located, and then where their travels, territories, and then what are their functions. So I will stop here, and then the symptom I will talk later. Next rule.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Punso Omolo. That was wonderful. So I think as in the beginning, Dr. Wangdu was talking about the wind, and the wind being a movement. So basically, it moves everything. It moves the universe. It creates the universe. It dissolves the universe. It creates our body. It dissolves our body. It creates diseases. It heals diseases. So if you think about as a wind or lung, so lung being part of being diseases, but also like we say also lung Rinpoche, like a precious wind or precious lung, so that the wind or the lung being a part of medicine. So I think maybe I wanted to speak a little bit. So I'm not going to, I'm not familiar with all the Tibetan medical side of it. It was very, very meaningful, helpful to hear about doctors here. But I will speak a little bit from more the spiritual side of it, or the more Dharma side of it. So first of all, the idea of the wind or lung, I think to see lung as a positive thing, and also lung as something which can cause disturbances. So it can be could be very destructive, disease, or could be very healing or very uplifting or like enhancer things. So the lung having all different characters of it. So in the higher tantric teachings, in a way, like the most important enhancer for meditation is the exercises of the body and exercise of the lung. So basically, I'm just going to talk in a very simple way. For example, the gazes, if you look up or you look down or you look right, you look left, you look straight, there are different gazes. Simply by gazing differently, it's producing a different wind and producing a different experiences of consciousness. Or like all the different postures, for example, yogic positions. So if you are sitting in a like upward, like for example, then your energy is keeping straight more. Channels are more straight. If your channels are more straight, the winds are going more straight, or the lung is going more straight. If the lung is more going straight, it produces the experiences to the consciousness. Just consciousness have no option to not feel the goodness when the posture is right, the wind is moving in the right direction. So somehow it's very much way of yogis use these wind exercises very much way of enhancing their practices, or some cases overcoming their obstacles or practices. And also like a very important part of the higher tantric teaching practices is called, it says like the whole practices is about, tantric practice is about bringing the subtle consciousness and subtle mind, the subtle wind, we say lungsim tawa, subtle wind and subtle consciousness into the central channel. So in some sense of ability to bring this lung tawa and so this subtle consciousness into the central channel. So when these are brought into the central channel, so some sense of a spiritual awakening happens. So some sense of a deep sense of spiritual development happens. So it's very much about it's a effect of the wind. So I just in one of the texts it says, I will just read it in Tibetan first very quickly, then I will explain a little bit. It talks about the like nine winds. It says Pöniji Yinglung, Yishiji Delung, Rikpi Ranglung, Yiji Talung, Leji Shuglung, Nyomum Bitsublung, Duvi Tulung, Sibi Toblung, Kalbi Jiglung. So Kalbi Jiglung. So these are like 9 basically different stages of the lung, stages of the wind. But these stages are very much based on level of awakening of consciousness. So some sense that the number 1, which is the essential lung, essential wind, is something that is like a collective. It's like a collective awareness, that something that beyond our physical boundaries and beyond conceptual boundaries, or something that everything is connected to. So beyond, I say, including the matter and the mind. But then when it comes down to, when it's talking Ishiji Delung Rikpi Langlung, this is where more like a conscious awareness comes in. There's a wind there, but this conscious awareness is able to be aware or not be aware. And Rikpi Ranglung, which is where awareness can be able to be conscious. When awareness is able to be conscious of itself, or self-awareness, even though self-awareness is a state of consciousness, but it's not only a state of consciousness, it's a wind that which has influences of moving things, awakening things, changing things, and transforming things, transcending things. So that this wind, which is related with a pure awareness, has a very high spiritual developmental qualities. So then, I'm not going to take too long time, but then bottom line is get worse and worse. So Yiji Talung, like a conceptual wind, like we know like 84,000 thoughts. So when you have so many disturbing thoughts, and these thoughts are not just thoughts, but they are winds also, they are lung. So sometimes where people are having a hard time to follow sleep, there are these conceptual thoughts. These winds are very active, so having a hard time to follow sleep. And then when it's getting worse, then you have Nyomom Bitsublung, more like a negative emotional winds. And then Duvi Tulung, which is where all the medical things, Tibetan medical things coming, all the diseases and sicknesses arising, then comes down to more like a self-destructive winds. So anywhere from very unified field consciousness, a wind related to it, to very self-destructive state of mind, which also having very destructive wind, which is called sibi toblung, like sibi toblung, very destructive winds. So these are really interesting to see. These different winds has something to do with a state of spiritual awakening developments. So maybe I just say another little bit, then I will just open up the conversation. Will be, as Dr. Phuntsol Wangyal talked about, the five winds, for example, or five lung. And I think Phuntsol spoke very much more from the perspective of the medical, Tibetan medical perspective, health perspective. So maybe I will speak a little bit more again to the more spiritual dimension of it. So I think according to some aspects are a little similar and some aspects are a little different. So we according to this one of the Maju cycle of teaching, it talks about, where are these winds are abiding in our body, what these winds looks like in terms of their shapes and colors, what are their functions, what is their more like gross benefits, like a health benefit, physical benefits, or what are their consequences of not having those wind enough. And also, like I think one of the very interesting part here is it's called, so in the Tibetan tradition we call gongji, and then pe, then mejun. If there's no, then there's a problem of not having it. But gomtok, I think this is a very interesting part. What are the meditative or spiritual benefit of these five winds? So I think some sense, even idea of laughter, humor, which is something very much that we all need and need to have it. But how does this laughter and humor comes? What are the relation to these winds? Like it's saying, like an upward moving wind, it has some causing these singing song, or able to laugh, or if you are upward moving wind, it's not there, or we went in the wrong direction, then even people are lying, so it's not telling the truth. Even speech behaviors or emotional behavior are affected by these wind disorders, or having or not having these winds. So, for example, for one of the exercises here, Songzi, which is the life force wind exercises. Some of these exercises we are taught here in these teachings, they're also known as a cardio exercise. So maybe I will not take too much time here. Maybe I will come a little bit in the end. I will come back to some of these meditative benefit of these five winds, or health benefit of five winds, and maybe we can do a short experiment of meditation all together. So let's see how we're doing with the time. Okay, so I think we can go more, half an hour more. Maybe Dr. Wangyal, maybe if you wanted to speak for 5 minutes first. Now, 1 second, please. I'll unmute you.
All right. Lasu Rinpoche, thank you so much, Rinpoche. Rinpoche gave us very good explanation about those inner practice, the lung or the wind energy, which use in terms of the spiritual practice, spiritual level. And then thank you so much, Dr. Phuntsol Wangyal, for those specific winds for the medical level. I'm just going to go back a little bit to the things that I said before, just make a conclusion so that will benefit our viewers in daily life. So I talked about the accumulation condition and then arousal conditions. So we're not going to talk that much about that. The main thing is that we accumulate the wind energy or the wind problems or wind, the excessive wind in our body whenever we are in a stressful condition, whenever we are in a worry, we are in a sad feeling, we have all those kind of negative the things in our daily life, especially in this like 21st century. Everybody go out to their office, they go out there for business, they have challenges, they have hard time with their boss, they have hard time with their co-workers and the client, everything. So every day we have the stress, we have a stressful life. And then the most important thing in daily life, we shouldn't keep those stress and those worries and those unwanted things. We shouldn't keep this as much, for a long time. So if we keep those things a longer time, more you keep those, and then it goes, it accumulates wind energy. There's something that's unwanted wind, something that brings wind energy imbalance. It's piling up, one after another. It's so that's why I say that's progressive, progressing, and then there's a level, when it's reach up to here, and then one day it will explode, like we have the blowing a balloon. If you put, to put too much pressure, and then suddenly it blows, right? So this is practice of the daily life. Whenever you go out there, whenever you have the lung, or whenever you have stress, you have the all kinds of the mental problems or the stressful situations, and then give yourself a little bit time, like 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and try to release those. So this is practical level. This is very useful. So that's why in Tibetan medicine mentioned that the conditions, accumulation condition, progression conditions, and then arousal conditions. So don't wait until it arouses, until it's get big, until it shows signs and symptoms of lung imbalance problems. So what you can do, there are a lot of things. You can do all kinds of things to release your stress. Releasing stress means releasing those accumulated wind in our body, release it out. And also we need food for every day. We need our physical body. We need the what they call recharge our body. We eat 3 times in a day, and then that's just give us energy to our body. But at the same time, exactly the same thing to our mind. We also recharge our mind, or recharge our mental the power. So those are the using the meditations, relaxations, breathing exercise, listening to good music, having some time for yourself, and going to with good friends. Especially the Tibetan medicine mentioned that it says that you need to stay in a warm and cozy place, and then go with the loved ones or beautiful people, not only beauty from outside, both inside and outside. Someone that you like, someone that's your close friend, someone that cares you, someone that teaches you the positive things. So I think the Dharma centers are the perfect place to go if you have a stress. And you can go also in a park and listening to music. Those looks very simple, but those are very useful for in our everyday life, because as I mentioned before, some people says, I have no lung, I have no problem with the lung, but you check my pulse, you say, oh, you have accumulation of lung. But they didn't realize, they don't know, because the balloon is almost getting full. If you push harder and harder, this will explode, and then you will see signs and symptoms. Then you will suffer, and so that's why before it's reach up to very high level, try to release it every day. And some people practice meditation every day, like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Those are very useful, and then you can there are some other things that you can do. Maybe it comes in later times. That's Rinpoche.
Thank you. Let's see. Okay, thank you. I think you hear me, right? Yeah. So, Dr. Phuntsog Amala, maybe you wanted to just a few words. 5 minutes.
Lasso. Tachana. Okay, so Dr. Wandula, thank you. Okay, so when we're looking so if we say, okay, how I know those my 5 lungs are imbalanced or abnormal. So when we're looking like at the life-sustaining lung, which we call the Songzin lung, if the Songzin lung is abnormal, which means is you will have like one of the main symptoms is like more like the mental issues. You will lose the memories, or you became more agitated. And one of the special is the sense organ function declines. So this is one thing. In case this kind of something happened, what you can do, and then you can like changing the diets, behave, and taking some supplement, and also you can do some the external therapies. But the second one, when we're looking the ascending lung or the Kingyu lung dysfunction, what happened is that when you speak, your voice is shaking. And then also sometimes you sort of like stuttered when you're talking, sort of like the voice is became sort of like the words is not flowing. And then meantime, also you have difficult breathing, heart like beats goes faster. And also you losing the body like complexions, radiance. And also you will have the problems of like the inhaling things. In case you happen this kind of thing, also you can use, as I said, like diet, behave, so on and so forth. But once we get into the pervading lung or the captive lung dysfunction, which kind of problem we will have, and one of the main problem you will facing is the losing memories. And the heart became sort of like pain, and then also tight in the heart region, and then poor circulations, and the limbs is cold, or some parts of the body does not get the blood on time. So sort of like transportation is dysfunctioning. And then also cause of that, then simple things we will have, as I said, like a cold limbs, and the worst case also we will have like seizures. And then starting from there also we will get unexpected issue, problems, disease. As the Rinpoche and Dr. Wongdula mentioned, the wind is everything. And then once we also like happen this kind of the pervading lung dysfunction, also we will have like a numbness of the limbs, and sometimes losing their feelings, so on and so forth. Once we losing or the dysfunctions of the fourth lung, the fire accompanying lung or the manyam lung dysfunctions, then we will have all internal issue problems. Started from the indigestion, then also getting into the worst part is the cancers, tumors, diabetes, all those unexpected serious disease, included like edema. So we say it's a so root of all the internal disease is indigestion, or the indigestion is root of all the internal disease. So then all those unexpected disease included like the arthritis, rheumatoid, gout, all those problem is appears different parts of the body. Someone comes in the mentally problem, someone comes on the limbs, joints, cracking, pain, dislocating. But the root is indigestion. So indigestion means is the fire accompany is one of the main like factors. And then the last one is the descending lung dysfunction or the Tursi lung dysfunction. And then simply we will have like a constipations, irregular menstruation cycles, pain during the menstruation cycles, or the premature ejaculation, so on and so forth. All those kind of problems, infrequent urination, those are the symptoms, not the root of the problem. Root problem is more than created more than symptoms. So those are when the 5 lung dysfunction, each of them, they appear, so those kind of symptoms. So what we can do for fixing or balancing those things, we can balance through the diet. An example is the nature of the wind is light. Nature of the wind is rough. Nature of the wind is mobile. So we need to eat something heavy. Also, nature of the wind is cold. So what we need to do, warm, heavy food. So those can be good diet. So at the moment, it's not good to drinking a lot of bitter taste, astringent taste, like a bitter, like a coffee, tea, and then also astringent, like a green banana. So those kind may not good. And then also you can change the behaviors, but Rinpoche is going to talk more about the meditation, so I'm not going to talk that. Just leave there. And again, the Dr. Wang mentioned all the behave parts. And then we can do one simple like treatment, external therapy. We can use like oil compress, oil therapies. Where we can using those oil therapy, we can use those oil therapy on the main lung chakra, crown chakra, throat chakra, heart chakra, and the navel, and then also the secret chakra. So those area. And simple also in the palms, soles, you can using like oil compress. What you can do is like a celery seed, put into a cotton with the nutmeg and the cardamom to make a simple sort of like a ball like this, and then warm up in the oil, and then you can touching those kind of points. And then another one simple things what you can do beside all those diet behave. So the bone broth is one of the best medicine for all types of lung disorders. You can make the bone broth with the bone is the animal, bigger animal is the better. That is logical, no? And then you can boil that bone over like 2 hours with a piece of ginger, piece of onion, and 2 pieces of the tomato. So this kind of you boil together, and then with the ready you can drink. So this is one thing. The another one is a simple one. What you can do, 1 piece of garlic, you clean the garlic, the peel from the shelf or the container, and then soaking into a good alcohol. Normally what we use a traditional Tibetan, we have our own alcohol made by the barley. It's very similar with this Japanese sake. Otherwise also you can put into the cognac, leaving overnight in the alcohol, and then next morning you drink maximum 1 tablespoon and a minimum 1 teaspoon morning when your stomach is empty. So if you do this kind of thing, simple treatment, applying warm oil compress, drinking like meat broth or the bone broth with other vegetables or barley or whatever you want to cook, and alcohol, like the garlic soaking into the alcohol. If you're using like more than 3 tablespoons of this kind of alcohol, and then it's not becoming medicine, it's becoming like a poison. So that way we say a maximum you're using 1 tablespoon, minimum 1 teaspoon in morning when your stomach's empty. So this is a simple treatment. I hope so. So this simple therapy, very easy to preparing, very easy to apply. So this brings you little benefit. Thank you, Rinpoche.
Thank you so much, Dr. Punzola. And I think it's a really interesting, fascinating, but I think there's so much to learn. And I'm definitely going to listen again to our conversation. So I'm sure our audience might be also feeling similar, that a lot of information. So maybe these conversations are recorded and they'll be on my page. So anytime you feel like you want to listen again, so please welcome to do that. So before we ran out of time, I just wanted to just make one announcement that which is tomorrow, what we are doing tomorrow. So tomorrow on TWR Facebook Live at noon New York time, we will be having a conversation among different spiritual teachers among Tibetan Buddhist schools. And so among them, probably you might have seen already, I have posted all the teachers' name and their their photos, but I just wanted to mention that Changkhun Jingme Wangyal Rinpoche, who is the president of the non-sectarian non-profit organization, and also Khen Rinpoche Champa, who is the Sakya teacher from Seattle, and then Yangten Rinpoche from Dharamsala, who is, I think, right now traveling with His Holiness, and Yongje Mingyur Rinpoche, and I think Mingyur Rinpoche probably is already in Nepal right now. So, and the Sogyal Rinpoche from Dharamsala, and Chonang Jasab Rinpoche, who also lives in the head of the Chonang tradition school, lives in Dharamsala. So we have and Sogyal Rinpoche, a friend of mine who also lives in Dharamsala. So we have all these wonderful teachers coming up tomorrow at noon. Just talking about our common ground, all the spiritual traditions that in Tibetan spiritual traditions, that what is the common ground, how we can learn from each other, and also what are the differences and how we can benefit from our differences from each other. So these are, I am very much looking forward to host this, and I would like to invite all of you, and please let all of your other friends know who might be very interested in it. So maybe, since we don't have much time, that maybe we can do a little exercise that related to the wind, maybe at least one exercise that among 5 wind exercises, the upward moving wind. So we can sit straight, and bring your attention to your throat. Throat being one of the locations for specific winds, upward moving winds. When you feel your attention is on the throat, that is a wind. That presence is a wind. Now you breathe in deep, and then hold your breath in your throat. So that is a rhythmic breath, which is a wind also. Hold in your breath, and then slowly move down, roll your head counterclockwise 5 times. You're holding your breath, and do the other way around 5 times. And come to the center, and gradually breathe deep, breathe out from your nostril. As you breathe out from your nostril, the energy from the center of your body shoot up into the crown, into your brain area. So it's like you're feeling that it's opening up your crown. So let's repeat this. I'm as I explained. So holding the position, bringing the attention to the throat, breathing in, holding 5 movement one direction, 5 movement other direction, together 10 movement, holding throughout 10 movement, coming to the center and breathing out and shooting the air, the lung upward into the brain, where you feel more like immediately some sense of alertness, some sense of more clarity, more clear presence in your crown. Let's repeat this 3 times. Once again. One last time. So bring your attention toward your throat and the crown, and be aware that there is some sense of more openness in your throat. There's a clearly more sense of openness and some sense of presence, liveliness in your crown, in your head, in your brain. There's some sense of there's more circulation of the blood upward in your brain. So this is like an upward moving wind, the energy lung, which moves upward, and this wind of awareness and somehow impacting your crown or your brain area. This wind is helping to have more clear presence, clear mind, building memory. And this wind is also laughter, humor, singing, a spontaneous singing. Okay, so another very simple exercise will be without the movement, only with the simple attention. So if you bring your simple attention to your heart chakra, and you can breathe in deep and hold in your heart chakra. Hold comfortably as long as you can. And when you cannot hold anymore, just breathe it out. Deep breathing through the nostril. And end of the exhalation, rest in this sense of more opening, openness, the sacred space in the heart area. So let's repeat this 3 times. Breathe in as deep as possible, hold comfortably as long as possible, then breathe it out through nostril deep. And as a process of breathing it out, you'll feel more openness in your heart. Recognize, be aware of that, and you fully wanted to rest in that openness in your heart. So repeat 3 times. One last time. So just be aware, the moment you bring attention to the heart, that attention, the presence of your mind in the heart, it's also a lung. And when you are breathing in, that clearly it's a rhythmic breath. It's a lung. When you're holding in your heart, when you're opening, when you're breathing out, and that also a wind. But when you feel some sense of openness, presence of openness, or unconditional sense of presence in your heart, that is also related to the wind, like what I was saying earlier, like a Rigpi Rangung. There is a possibility of a self-awareness in the space of the heart, in the heart. Okay. Thank you very much. So I think we don't have much time. So what I would like to ask Anya, I know Anya is our host. Thank you so much, Anya, for helping us remind every time when we forget to anything to prepare for this encounter, and testing many times this technology is working or not. Even during her own personal retreat, we have to interrupt her. So I very much appreciate Anya and of course also TWR Facebook Live team. So Anya, if you please can maybe I probably you already did. So maybe the website or any information of Dr. Phuntsho and Dr. Wangyal and their information. So the way people can reach them and how they can know information about them. So if you can post on so that links, so that would be great. So people, then everybody who, but Dr. Wangyal clearly lives in New York area, Dr. Phuntsho in Massachusetts home, but I think she's traveling a lot like I do. And
yes.
yeah, so and then maybe so at this point I would like to all the we have almost like a 300 people, 270 people participated in this wonderful conversation. And so I would ask, because now I'm going to ask Dr. Wangyal to kind of summarize a little bit in Tibetan, because sometimes there are some Tibetans who are following my Facebook page, and then they are asking why there is nothing in Tibetan. And sometimes they're a little bit like last time I have posted something, and then somebody wrote, he said, don't you write Tibetan? And without it's a little bit like judgmental, because I do write a lot of things in Tibetan and poems there, but I don't think he saw any of those. And whatever he does not seize that moment, he thinks that's all what it is in front of the eye. So, but definitely there are a lot of Tibetan friends who would very much like to hear some of these conversations. So all of you wanted to hear that things you don't understand, welcome to stay. And those you are, we are now going to speak a little bit in Tibetan, just like next 15 minutes. So thank you very much, all our Cyber Sangha, all the audience here. So Dr. Wangyal ane che chik kama tuk du chik ane proke nangla tat chik ingdu do chi ta chik lungi kord ma chik suno chena.
Rinpoche laso singidugela.
Do
laso ani thomadliya tangzo atenda di nalya ngotipinal tanggenge ngzo puripunda sangmalya ani don jobge ge ta chilug namlo sar sebe kadun tenjung la samri testile shua ta arumchi chog tarin tinma kiram pyoge ton chikshe ton yabudu sendus kalom nas chezange pyoge ton ma dos pusik na bozo shu sha gi yin tarin ngzo dilya ta rumchi chore tana shi ani impunzo mla je tana shi anya je ye ge tang zo khogap de stunje anda ngarang zo pyoge jikshung na 다가다 지네 처왕하다 중앙 예배 남에 엔처왕에게 야케 벽소식 바단 저와 예배 터네 아니 다 지게기 되녀바 망보치리아 르부치 두다 넘버 군도 다간다 지 가라주 베백직 슝디 캬베 땅야 제디 마냠 공베다 냠보 술주기 차레 딘데치 다간다 굴레 견제 나기 예배 텔레야 어 사메 삽슈드 르부치 투 셰센 슈야체 아니 데다 다리 데마다 르부치 데마 크라운룽 콜 벽에 터네 직셰 터네 야고도 숨도 제자 다리 가서 데마다 졸레 망체 르부치 조 가서 룽세야 당 아주 배배나는 지단 롱시야데 하구여의 장맹한 롱근나서도 콜라니 직선바 기버 마차버자 롱 직롱스지 차바다 아니 마기벌 소바들이 중백하도로 롱시야데 싱기여리나야 다 롱시야데 가져스 캡첨부 임바디 엔디 콜라 다링암도 스마트 셰스도 슈여레 엔데셰다 닝드르도 조데 엠지 군조om라담 넘바 군조om라담 닝니게 다 소르베기 시르샤베기 토네 아니 롱시야데 칸티시미 직체 르부체게 름제된 정결라 쪽에 텐다지 낭트 혼다다 마란조 냠랭 토네 조 냠랭 랑 토네 다 룽시아데 칸데스 냠랭 치규 바티데 콜마 투세나 나송 아니 돈 도르 스튜제 슈빈다 룽시아데 다가다 나란조 친느긴 직된다 나주그 심젠다 탐제 다간다야 통마리아 투베기 시디안 디차기여 파르도 네베기 다간다 겐스네리 규이나 디차기여리 안 타만 직베기 다 겐스네 디차기여 제자 da lung se de shuchi da nega chimbo da ke chimbo shuchi cha de yoris ke de tinda we da lung di yang number mo ji number gyurbas la bin de ani ko thuk je lung di ani ji yang na mang cha ba yang na nyung cha ba phe wa da se ba thuk ba la so ba chung bi ina ani yang ko gi da kan da ji chin ne gi ji gen la yimi na shuchi da kan da ka za nga zu ta ta ma ji ke ba tong ya de ke ba mi ji bu chu ji bu lung ji ba se ya de gi ani tinda gi che ya yu yu de ba an da na shi nga zu ba ji lung su bi ina ri thak cha ina ri chulo da sa yom la so ba da tham je ani ju wa da zu ri che de na ne da lung se ya de shu chung bi shu ji ba che ana la ba du ana da lung se ya de ana nga zu ji nga ran zu su go ge ka na ma le yom be ka tu li ya ani lung de ta ka za su go na ge gu chue ge ji nga zu thak shi ge khor ju la so ba je da ga na ju je ge ma la so ba je da ga na shi nga zu sa ga ge ma la so ba kan da ya nga ran zu ge ji lu nga yi sum gi gyu wa gu ge ge ji da tham je lung da je wa yu de ba da tin ji re es ana la ba du ta nga ran zu pe ge ka so re ji na nga mo ge ta ga da na sem gi nyam le tin de nam be ka tu li ya lung ko la lung jor ge ji tin de ma bo shi chi bu ji chi yu de ba ani lung de pe jo ta shen be ina ani ji ngon ne ta ne ge ji ta ta ba tham ji ki be ko ba ne kan da ta ji ka so ren ji ge din ne dre tu be ge tham lam tin de ina ze tu ya yu ba ani ya ji ne gap gi so so ge chö den da ya ji ge lu ge ji dang top ye ya lo so ba che ren bu cha ya lo so ba tin de ge nyam ne chi yu yu de ba che tin de cha de wo ri ya de lung de dan ji nan shi de ya lung de le ya nga zo se ri jö lam ri tu ri den la so ba tin de ge ya 강에 태베 카도르 양코스 군나라 교와 친제 아니 그 내나자 망고 쉬우지 사용 아니 룽근나 지 디도 지 가소 룽게 지 가소는 도와트로 페세 투바 교월 따니 아니 지 셈캄라야 지 가소레 지 포도 영야다 아니 셈레야 셈마기바 차야 셈여저보 조차야 셈체로야 셈체찬로야 쳬바찬로야 딘데기 내다 망고 지용바다 냠도 수불라 임비네 다 간다 수불 룽근나자로 소바텐데 망고 체제 착시 차고 고르고 슈쳬보 차야 착시 토보 차야 닝근나자 chaya soglung na chaya ninglung na chaya ta na shi da mi punzo mo la kan ma lung ge yawa nga di songjin da kengyu da kyapje menyam thurse la so ban ma nga ti ye ge na le ya ani ran ran so so ge le ga gyunden ge le ga khari chi bi ba kede lung di gyo chim bi na ani gyunden ge le ga de member pe na so ba da chim ba la so ba ma ta ya ga chap la ani kong ka de je so pang ga ba yu gu yor chim ba ga ba yu go ta na shi nga zu da wa gen da zen zu da wa tu do le tu ta ta thurse lung la so ba tu zo ma bi ja ya ya ko ni ma sum shi ge che le ya che ya de zu ge le ga zu ya khon do 아니 뒤마른 발라 레야들이 레베투즈라 말레야 징가데야리 다가는 시 녜도 유베 심젠도 보고 쇼리아로 서 버틴데 딱 한다리야 수고난 유베긴 중아 룽시아데 투비이나 안 간다간 저 류가 이숨부터 레야 강해 침부시고 지체윤야리 아니 진데 용구여레 세네칼로남데 나송 테니 테네망 저 룽게 직 멘저도 탈라팀 부체야 텐데 토리야 된다 좀 라크디 콜나 송아 등아저 베나 루주스미 코알라 소바 루탄데 통야 루탄데 저 심젠 첨부터 저게 직 셀론 소유 슈충세야데 슈구 탕리 다가나시 셀론 게 칙든 저레 소베 유가 게 칙든 저 두르제 아니 고과든데 데스데스 답드네 에네 가자로 소바 루제 두르제 동비나 룽레 핑게여바 안다가나시 저 농상가야 데 룽게 상든 저 상말이야 num게 자디단 권유든 저마 동제디 레낭 지 능 사보수지 룽게상 칸 예바든 저 룽상가제야 룽야 페데바든 저 만잠바 제야게 탑람제 엔다가는 신가 저 꾸니에 제야 바 꾸니 능 사보수지 수불라 온데 마사지 스기어바 어디 꾸니에 제야 텐데 제비나 안 룽만 좀야다 텐데게 돌아 펜도이고 어디 텐데기다 랍자 텐데로지 페제 텐데로지 답페제 도데로지 아지비나 텐데로지 또 세네타린 충송스 아니 어디 텐데로지 답벽에 나 페제 텐데시 야이지
last one ane to che ane chenambani gi karsore tanda 60 don't want to let che kawa shugi ane khase ya ranzu bebe penda to dewa uchi chinde yana ane chik sungna last amala dana chena
last eja sunrona robunzo last sunrona
ngai benyel
last sunrona
벽에가 시야를 가져올
last
그래서 대행의 명료표정 쓰기 내가 남주도 대서부터 단대디 아메리카리아 마사추세츠에 대유 대양한테 단대 생성 페멜라프지 니동 ngane gozon de tanga zo dina ye kigendab chene deyu ani nyedon choksum ne nganzula nyanda de ursula ya pemengla projiko chene yanga de kapkabya de lobchen chiga yunguyu dazo de tanda de ngazo lega chese de shangshung pyorik bashiri simchu tene tanda 나가나 rinpoche so nambe ge tanda shengshung tena ya le ge chi yu ani the daughter na ya yun ani tanda shengshung ge targeting ne signal na ani tine ne jawana tu bris and jawana rona shuyi
Lasso, ani gaming la imju wang du sen sig yu nga tanda desa New York la tu sen te yu nga ta gu ko tu sam ne ani min zgan tembe ge amen bat de yin en da ti ba to chik ya ga pe yu so go min zgan ya la men ga du sin je tu start sen te en tanda desa de New York te yu New York Council te yu ta mi ma bu ji Washington New York te nge chu ani New York la nga nam yu a chik ne ba ta ya ta zu to ro chik yu so ri be to ya ta nam yu ju zo la je ta na shi California yu be kon zo ang zo men ba to ha je yu kon zo yam ta ya ta chik men 야 지 담시 시야스로 근데 다 냠래 시야스로 근데 저 체제 되게 제가 남부 소야 내가 된도 난게 단 저원 난군이 표소를 배토를 하버도지 장군이 다 포소를 소리 배토를 켄군이 들이 여비나 능할 저 나로나 예 광단데 917-937-6743 나서 같이지
tuche ane darapundu omana tuche darawandila tuche ta darawandila gi de ningdom de pe ago shioji song ane tuche shioyi ane tu tada 그렇게 돌아 생긴 한번 참말라 tuche ane maombola ine tatis 가르소래 얘기 nga gergi ngode bi tone ti che tamangche di chozo khada dewa yogen gi lomaten ju nyeng gi yore ani de indu kala mangche ngegen sangma di chije mi indu kala ni ngoju ke di mangche inji ke la inji ke tole ma shigi ti men ani kazian kap gala baba de khashe gi ata chi proge tola machine gari ina samsam doji kongu yesade de indu ta ti sashi shue 아니 년게 제시 굽주 고고 상마티 인지레 아니 ngo조티 얘기 모델 제비 갑둘라 아니 끼리 민다와 쭈빈 사지나라 퍼체 남산 주르비오레 베네 탄다도지 차샤나 끼 민다와 쭈빈 사지나라 퍼체 주르비오레 아니 더블링 카사카메 틴슈아이 아니 다 게체 사다 슈아치라 사니 땅에들 산이 인공 추주 중리 뉴욕에 추주 중리 돌아야 아니 양 어디 태동 주네 단다 동린지 체레 동린디 조지 추룩 추주 첨튼세하게 동린지 체레 아니 디디나로 조지 정도 추주 가게 남만나바 망부지 된데시유 단다 작공지면 왕도 좀 붙여 공 추주리네 먼저때 어레를 니동 쭉직로네 조시에 추주리네 김에 초고치요래 안티기 공 소소래 아니 단다 김부 잠버는 붙여 공 세야도 보게 사적이 조조 나와시요래 아니 양대는 붙여 단다 드람살을 쉬고요래 공 단다 퍼제 군디 지주가서 파수 군디 좀도 집진한 거요래 아니 대 민주는 붙여 남부도 삼마 팔지 망제 싱그레 공 바이올 슈거레 소게는 붙여 양 단다 드람살라 슈기요레 아니 단다 전화 자사를 붙여 공 드람살라 슈거레 공리 공 베게레 다 강다라 사게 까니 유노페 상마 전화 유노페 제 상마 당어도 수 지루루도 붙여 아니 지 추루단 추주기 참딩고라 게지시 다지 다와든 정도 나나 그래지 지 다와 카르카리요레 아니 전조 파소 동네도 체레체 직절라 아니 만더버든데 카리요 같은 전조 비전에 먼저 직절라 판도도 카리요메 콜로 동네도 체 아니 저 체슈네 다 등산 지속에 나라야 지 카르소레 이 첩식이 너무 가와이네 첩식이 녀라망고체 아니 추루기 녀라망고체 아니 미리 신고기 녀라망고체 근데 녀라망고지 여도 갑둘라 아니 지랑게 녀라망고지게 지 템바디 자위기 차샤나 소소기 추기 샘디 둘투비하다 추기 템바이비 계절에 갑갑라야 그 추코나야 고녀라야 기대고 차네 아니 야고 연구야 말와 근데 인도가 저 체슈디 다들 모두 줄로 타마 챔피언 시하고 그래 지 제고래 타마기 셰어들 레라고요래 셰초래 이네 갑qabla 소소 삼다나 인지미지 당랑진 찍질로 투 파투가 도 수투가 용 냠도 차치동 샤라치 냠도 추 까면치 냠도 낭 지부도 체 아니야 진짜 Dinera che matubi in that things not talam ki kaplaya, the penatanda, the Modip Tedon Junior, Talam Tonia, Modu Samasu, Ruruche, Commission, Chikla, Washington, Bache, Tulamche, or Tindesia, the Suzuki Catchable with Tonson, and that Talam Tone, Modip Tedon Share Tone, Shepherd Chevalaya, Mozu Ting Manguchi, Soda Chen, Yamdo Zomre, Yamdo Re, Zumgi, the Sama Chikila, Washington Yaro Doji, D. Chiro Doji, the Chopline Doda. And it's missing the Jimmy Dewache, Motion, Chegua, the owner and the champion Gisashi, and then they do, and they do Gala, Tangazu, Modep Tedon or Julia, and the Cheviena, and a aunt, Modep Tedon Julia singing about Tamalaya, Disaji, Carsore, Yabuji, Pendoji, Chendo, Judo, Jingre, sometimes you can Zangut in the Kin and the Chigore, and Sani, number to Tama Petogena. Perona and a Kasi Petugman and I send that the Golotona Chigana and Tada Negi Modep Gijune and a Pasu attended the US in Solana Shui and it Tujiche, number the Tama Tujiche, singing Tama Tujiche, and then the Rapunzo Amala, Dada Mondila Tujiche.
Rinpoche Tojiche, Ke Kugaptana, Dindana Bakatin Chi Shui.
Tujiche.